day, a ship sank, and all the passengers drowned in the sea, except for one man. By the grace of God, he survived and eventually washed ashore on a desolate island. When he regained consciousness and opened his eyes, he realized he was all alone on the deserted land. The man immediately began praying, saying, "Oh God, please help me, send me some rescue." Days went by, but no help arrived. He spent his nights sleeping on the beach. Every morning he prayed again, but still no assistance came. As more days passed, he began to accept his fate as someone stranded on this lonely island. Determined to survive, he gathered wood and grass and built a small hut for shelter. He collected items from the wreckage of the ship and stored them in his hut. To sustain himself, he ate coconuts and fish, finding solace in his makeshift home. One day, while cooking food over a fire, he left briefly, and when he returned, he was devastated to see that his hut had caught fire and burned down completely. Overcome with grief and anger, he looked toward the sky and cried out, "Oh God, I asked you for help, but you ignored me. Now you've even taken away the only shelter I had. You are so cruel." He spent the rest of the night bitterly complaining to God and eventually fell asleep on the beach. The next morning, he was startled awake by a loud noise. Opening his eyes, he was shocked to see a ship approaching the shore. Unable to believe his luck, he was overjoyed that help had finally arrived. After boarding the ship, the man asked the captain, "How did you know I was stranded on this island?" The captain replied, "We saw a fire signal coming from the island and realized someone must be here, so we came to rescue you." At that moment, the man remembered his burning hut. He realized that what he had seen as a disaster was actually part of God's plan. The fire from his hut had served as a signal to bring help to him. He understood that God's plans were far greater and wiser than his own. Filled with gratitude, he began to thank God. If we reflect on our lives, we'll notice that many times our plans don't work out as we wish. Instead, things happen that we never expected or desired. In those moments, it's easy for our faith to waver, our patience to break, and our hope to fade. We start questioning and complaining to God. However, during such times, we must strive to maintain faith in God and work through our challenges. In this world of over 7 billion people, God has a purpose and a unique plan for each one of us. By combining our efforts with unwavering trust in the Almighty, we can overcome any hardship. Let us try then. So, whenever your plans seem to fail and life appears to move against your wishes, remember this: God's plan for you is always greater, bolder, and better than your own.